It's Monday, November 18th, 2019. And this is the Pro and Con Show, and that would make me your host, Michael James Ott. Welcome to the show. Of course, start every show by just the reminder why the show, encouraging us to be better citizens, be open to listening to opposing views, at least to listening to, trying to understand where these people are coming from. Because the truth is that we all have very different experiences, and we come to approach a particular issue based on the different experiences that we've had. I often delve into look at the headlines and try to look at the different bias in how the information is being provided on identical events, identical recent events. Right now, it's consumed to a great deal with the impeachment kind of stuff. So Democrats in Congress, step by step, moving forward with what will probably be a vote to impeach based on whatever articles of impeachment they write. In the lower house, the House of Representatives, and then if the Republicans stay true to their word when it goes to the Senate for the actual trial, the Republicans will stand their ground. They have a slight majority in the Senate, and that actually, in order to remove the president, to actually convict him, it takes 60 some senators anyway. So it's much more than just a simple majority. So probability is small, but anyway, that's where it's headed. And right now is all the stuff going back and forth with the Democrats, especially pointing fingers at Mr. Trump and saying, you're guilty of these things, and Mr. Trump and his associates saying, I'm guilty of nothing. I'm perfect in every way, and and on and on. So, as I've done in the past, talk about some of the issues, because there's no reason why, even though the country, or certainly our government, is kind of stuck on this impeachment thing and is going to be that way for some coming weeks, doesn't mean that we can't talk about the issues and at least start having that dialogue. And again, it's all about where you come and so how you perceive things. So this is a dollar coin from back in 1971, and on the coin is a picture of Eisenhower on one side, and then on the other side, I'll show you the other side here. Hopefully you can make out the image of the eagle, and I think this is a commemorative coin, commemorative of the landing of Apollo 11, I believe, on the moon's surface. So the eagle has landed, kind of thing. The point, though, is, and so the topic for this session or this show and for the next few shows, because I think I tried to cover this a few months ago. I did cover it a few months ago. I'll cover it again. So we're going to talk about abortion. Now, this is a very emotional issue, a very polarizing issue. And, so abortion, and the issue of abortion, it varies, your view of it depends a great deal on who you are, and how you were raised, and how old you are, and whether you're a man or a woman, and whether you've kind of been in a situation where maybe an abortion had to be considered, or you thought it should be considered or not. Depends on how religious you are, for example, and what what church you were raised in, or if you may be an adult. As an adult, you've entered into a church or a religion, and all of these things. There's roughly 340 million people in the United States, and roughly 8 billion people around the world. And I guarantee you that none of us have the exact same perception of the abortion issue, and And therefore, that's why all these serious issues that face our nation, and some of the most polarizing ones, rather than just spew forth with, hey, I think that we should do this, I think we should do that, you're wrong, I'm right, all that kind of stuff. Let's not do that. Let's at least put aside our denial of the fact that we might not know anything, or might not know everything, okay? And therefore, let's talk about these issues, and kind of start and get ourselves all on the same place. So at least we have the same information. We may not like some of the information that's presented, but at least we have it, and we know, other people have listened to it, and we've listened to it. At least that's there, okay? So, one of the things. So let me just. So for the abortion issue, there's some factors that get balanced depending on who you are again. And so just in broad categories, there's a category of choice. So having sex or not having sex. One of the things that is absolutely true is humans like to have sex. And, to pretend that that's not true, well, that's some kind of fool's errand, because it's true. But humans like to have sex, and not just to make children, but just to have sex. And we know this is true because we continue to have generation after generation of humans that are having sex and creating children. In fact, so many of them that the population of the world, and let me show you a graphic here. The population of the world is just skyrocketing here. So this is, as you look at to the far right of this graph, you can see just how quickly the world population is increasing. So people like to have sex, and the people that don't like to have sex, well, then they don't, and then they sure don't have any children, and therefore those whatever genes or things that cause them to not want to have sex, well, that goes away. And then the other part of choice is to have an abortion, or not have an abortion. And that's one, the key thing, one of the fundamental arguments or concerns here, obviously. And the one main point that I want to make sure that we're, again, all on the same ground here, the same level, is that nobody is mandating, and all of the arguments back and forth about abortion rights and stuff like that, no one is mandating that people have abortions. Okay, you make sure you're clear on that. People are not saying, hey, you have to have an abortion. What they're saying is, I don't believe you should be allowed to have an abortion, or I believe you should be allowed to have an abortion, or I believe that you should be allowed to have an abortion only under certain circumstances. It's that kind of stuff, but it's a consensual thing. The woman that is considering having the abortion, or ultimately would maybe have an abortion, it's a consensual thing. It's like, well, she has to decide if that's what she wants to do, given all the factors involved. And so it's not mandated. No one is saying to anybody, you must have an abortion. The other aspects of abortion are defining human life. Okay, so what does, when does human life start? And what is the meaning of life? For example, if you are hurt in a motorcycle accident or a car accident or any other accident, and they determine that your brain function has gone away, you're brain dead basically, that's considered to be dead. So even though your body perhaps you might even continue breathing, there might be a small portion of your brainstem or whatever that is still healthy enough that it would keep your body breathing, but all of the major synapses in the brain are not functioning anymore, and basically you're brain dead. You're dead. And so, is that life or is it not? And if there was a baby in a woman, and that were true, is that life or is it not? And the same thing for this discussion about the ending of potential life. So because it's if you step back at some point, it's not life. And when is it not life? Well, certainly when it's an egg and sperm, it's not life, or at least we don't consider it that way, because otherwise women, every month they menstruate because they aren't usually conceiving a child. So, but if that egg is considered life, then we've got to make sure all those women don't they have to be pregnant all the time. And the same thing for the sperm. And men produce millions and millions of sperm. And if each one of those sperm is considered life, well, oh my God, this is so it's crazy. So there is some place beyond egg and sperm, and us walking around as children or adults. There's some place where you go from being alive and human and not being alive, or prior or potential human life, right? Okay, so this is part 1. So part 2 will be tomorrow night, and for the Pro and Con show, again, serious issue. Get us all on the same page here. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on the second part of our discussion about abortion. All right, and until then, bye for now.